Hi, my name is Heather. Welcome to Strings and Threads, coming to you from my dungeon of dreams. Thank you so much for being here. I love all things crochet, yarn, and knitted. If you agree with me, I encourage you to subscribe. It's free, it helps my channel, and it lets YouTube know that you like my content. Hi, my name is Heather. I am working through my book, Fantastic Fantasy Drawstring Bags, and I'm showing some video tutorials of the patterns that are inside of here. Today we're going to be working on the 8-ball pattern. I just want to preface this. Unfortunately, I have to say this. I don't like that I have to say this, but all the patterns in here are copyright to me, which means that you are allowed to make as many of them as I want, even with my video tutorial, even if you didn't buy the book. You can use my video tutorial, you can use the pattern that you've purchased, you could use the book that you've purchased and make as many of them as you want. You can actually even sell the finished product of whatever you make from my patterns, but the pattern itself is copyright, which means that you can't sell the pattern, you can't give the pattern away for free, and you cannot make your own video tutorial of my pattern. You cannot make an approximation of it. The copyright law is very specific about that, whereas, you know, if the majority of the design takes after something that is already copyright, then that also violates copyright law. Again, I'm really sorry that I have to say that, but I've unfortunately been in situations where I've had to intervene because people were taking advantage of using my pattern and claiming it as their own. So let's open up to the pattern, the 8-ball dice bag. What we'll need, we're going to need some black yarn. I put a half a skein. I mean, skeins can be different sizes. I would say that you would need probably between 3 and 4 ounces. It does not take a whole lot of yarn, of medium weight black yarn. I'm going to be using this. This is way too much, but this will be the black yarn that I'm using. And you only need one other color yarn for this, and that's white. And again, you're going to need very little of it. If you look at the pattern, it's just for that white circle there. So I couldn't tell you the exact amount, but I would say, you know, 1 ounce. I don't know. Just a very little bit. You'll need an H crochet hook, which is a 5mm. So that's what I have here. You'll need paracord, which is what I use for the drawstring. I have that right here. I know a lot of people who have made this have also, or made any of my bags, have said, oh, I just used an I-cord, or oh, I just used a piece of yarn. And all of that is fine, but I personally, from personal experience, I have 2 teenage boys, and I made bags for them, and with the amount of opening and closing, opening and closing, opening and closing, I had to replace that I-cord, and I had to replace that yarn so many times because it's not meant to hold up to constant opening and closing. So I would recommend paracord, especially if it's going to be a highly used bag. But if you are giving it to somebody who's very careful, I suppose an I-cord or a piece of yarn would be fine for that. You'll also need a toggle fastener. I purchased both the paracord and the toggle fasteners on Amazon. Some of the toggle fasteners have 2 smaller holes. This is just the one I decided to buy because it was a better value and I got them in bulk. I make a lot of these bags, and so I decided to purchase a large quantity of them. And then like a darning needle or something like that, to weave in your ends. You may decide you want a stitch marker as well. So those are optional. In this video tutorial, I also already assume that you know how to chain, single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet. So if you need a little bit more practice with those stitches, then you know, feel free to practice those and then come back when you feel you can independently do those things. I don't show specifically how to do the stitches. I just will give you the instructions and make it with you. So we'll start with the black yarn. We're going to make the actual bag part first. So for the first round, you can chain 2 and put 10 half double crochets in the second chain from the hook attached to the first half double crochet. You'll end up with 10. So if you're doing it the way the instructions say, I'm going to give you an alternate way too. I decided to make the instructions as simple as I can, especially since I sell the patterns on Etsy and people are quite cruel in their feedback at times on Etsy. So I just tried to make it as simple as possible. So the way that I described it was that you chain 2 and then you put 10 half double crochets in the second chain. You can see this is the first chain. Here's the second chain. It's the first chain that you made in the second chain from the hook. So you would go ahead and do 10 in there. I'm going to do it a different way because this is the way I actually prefer to do it, with the magic circle. And so for the magic circle, I just go as if I am making my slip stitch, but I just don't pull it tight. And then I'll chain 1 and put 10 half double crochets into the magic circle. The reason I like this better is because you can pull the circle tight. When you start with the chain 2 and go into the second chain from the hook, it leaves a little bit of a gap in the, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted because I'm trying to count and talk to you at the same time. I'm not really very good at that. So I didn't really tell you what I was going to say, and I lost track of my count. All right, let me see where I'm at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, I need to count here. 8, 9, 10. Okay, so then we'll pull tight. If you pull on the small tail, not what you're using to get more yarn, but the small tail that you've created, you could pull that really tight, and you could see that there's no gap there. So I used the small tail from when we started, just pulled that really tight. But we're still going to otherwise follow the directions. So you're going to put a slip stitch into the first half double crochet that you did from that magic circle and pull it through. So now it's attached. You should have 10 half double crochets in that magic circle. So round 2, we're going to chain 1 and put 2 half double crochets in every stitch around, attached to the first half double crochet, and that will leave us with 20 half double crochets in that round. So chain 1. When I say put 2 in each stitch, what I'm talking about is an increase. So in this first stitch, I'm going to also crochet the tail in because I hate weaving tails in later. I'm going to put another half double crochet into that same stitch as an increase. Okay, and then we'll do that with the next stitch. We're going to do that all the way around, and you should end up with 20 half double crochets in the round, and then go ahead and attach with a slip stitch like we did this round to the first half double crochet. So let's pause here and finish our rounds, and then we'll come back. Okay, here's how it looks. Round 3, we're going to chain 1, there's going to be a pattern, put 2 half double crochets in the first stitch, 1 half double crochet in the next, repeat around, and I'll show you what that means. Attach to the first half double crochet. At the end of this round, we'll have 30 half double crochets total. So what that means, we're going to chain 1, we're going to do an increase or 2 half double crochets in this first stitch, and then we're going to put 1 half double crochet in the next, no increase. And we're going to continue that pattern around. So the next stitch should be an increase, 2 half double crochets in that same stitch. and then 1 half double crochet in the next. I'll show you one more time and then we'll pause and then come around. 2 half double crochets or an increase in the next stitch, and then 1 half double crochet in the next. All right, let's pause here, finish our round, and then come back. All right, this is what it's like at the end of round 3. That's the last round of increases that we're going to do on this main bag part. So for the next rounds from 4 through 14, we're just going to put 1 half double crochet in each stitch around and attach to the first half double crochet. So you're keeping the same stitch count, 30. And you just keep repeating that chain 1, put 1 half double crochet in each chain around, attach, and then repeat until you get to round 14. If you lose track, you can kind of see where the rounds are. You can see this is round 1, and then there's like this line here, and then round 2, and then there's kind of like this line here. So the line separates each round, 1, 2, 3. So if you wanted to, if you lost count, you could always go back and see where you are, but you want to end at round 14. The next round that we do will be round 4. And then we'll come back for the next direction. Here's how mine looks after 14 rounds. If you're curious, this is a counter. So you can see where I got this on Etsy. I don't remember what store, but you can click it up to count the rounds. I forgot to take it off. But that's how I kept track of my rounds. But you could still count them yourself if you wanted. Next round 15, we're going to chain 2 and put 1 double crochet in each stitch around. It'll still be 30 stitches, but it'll be 30 double crochets. The reason why this round will be the double crochets is because this is the round that the paracord or whatever cord you're going to use will weave in and out of. So I'll just get you started with a couple stitches, but there's nothing fancy here. I just chain 2, and then I'm just putting double crochets in each stitch around. When you get to the first stitch, just join up with a slip stitch, and we'll come back for the next round. Okay, we just completed round 15, the double crochet round. This is the round that the paracord will go into, or whatever cord you're going to use. Then we have 2 more rounds. Round 16 and 17, we're going to chain 1 and put 1 half double crochet in each stitch around attached to the first. So we're not increasing or decreasing. We're going to still end up with 30 stitches. So 2 more rounds, and then we're going to finish. I usually write just finish because I figure that people know what to do, but really it's just, you know, finish, weave in your ends, make it ready to be done. So that's where we are with this. So let's do those 2 rounds and then we'll come back. Here's how it looks completed. Here's a round of double crochets right here, and then 2 rounds of half double crochets, and then I finished and wove in all the ends. So it's ready to go. The next part here, it says cut 18-inch piece of paracord, string it in and out of double crochet row on head. Put toggle fastener through paracord, tie end of paracord. Okay, so I just cut 18-inch. I know a lot of people have started to complain to me that I'm not using any metric units. So here's 18 inches. Let's turn it around. It's not quite 46 centimeters. So if you went with 46 centimeters, you would be very close. 46 centimeters looks like it's just a really small little bit beyond 18 inches. So whichever units you like to use. And from what I wrote, all that means is, when I said the head, I just meant the top of the project. I don't know why I said the head. You're just going to find the double crochet row, and you can weave it in and out in whatever way you want. I usually fold this over a little bit because the ends of the paracord tend to fray, but we will take care of that before the end of this. So you can skip every other one. You could go in every other one. You can skip 2, then skip 1, and skip 2. You know, whatever way you want the cord to go through. I'm just going to do every other stitch. So you can see that I go over 1 stitch, under the next, over 1 stitch, under the next. I'm going to do that all the way around, and then I'll come back and show you how to attach the toggle fastener. All right, the paracords all the way through. You want to try and make sure the ends are even. And then depending on the type of toggle fastener you have, mine just has 1 big hole. I've seen them where they've had 2 smaller holes. So if you have 2 smaller holes, you'll put 1 of these through each of the 2 smaller holes. This one I have to jam both of the cords into the 1 bigger hole. All right, let me try to get that through. And this sometimes happens where one doesn't want to go through. I'll try again, and then if I'm struggling, I might turn this off and do it off camera and then come back. Let's see if I can get these smushed in. It'll go. Yay, I got it, yay. They can be tricky. So just pull this tight, and then we're gonna put a knot here. And what the knot does is it makes sure when you open the toggle fastener, it just doesn't fall off the edges. This knot will keep the toggle fastener from falling off. And then to take care of the fraying, if you have extra little bits of fraying, you can cut those off. That's what I'm gonna do. And then there's at least 2 ways to handle it. The 2 ways that I know of are, 1, you can burn the ends. I have never, ever, ever done that because I don't trust myself to burn the ends and not cause damage. The other thing you can do, I'm not affiliated with any kind of glue, but you could get white glue and then glue. This, believe it or not, works really, really well. I have had bags that I've had decades where once this glue hardens, it just is not going anywhere. There's no fraying. There's no getting that knot out without cutting. You do have to let it sit for several hours, if not like overnight or, you know, half the day. But before it will be fully dried. It does take a little while to fully dry, but that's how I handle the paracord and the toggle fastener. Next will be getting the 8-ball part on. Okay, we're going to move to the white. We're going to do the white background to the 8-ball. So to start, there's 2 ways, again, that you can do this. You can do chain 2 and put 10 single crochets in the second chain from the hook, or you can do the magic circle. So I'll remind you what the chain 2 is real quick, and then I'm going to do it with the magic circle. That's really what I prefer. Like I said, I write them like this because I have a lot of people who complain, I don't know the magic circle, now I can't do your pattern. So chain 2, and then in the second chain from the hook, which is the first chain you made, you're going to do 10 single crochets. Okay, and you would just continue until you had 10. Magic circle, again, I'll just show you real briefly. I go as if I'm going to do my chain. I just don't finish it. And then I chain 1, and I'm going to put 10 single crochets in here. I'll come back after I have the 10 single crochets in here. All right, I came around, I forgot, and I already tightened it. So here, if you didn't tighten it, you just pull the other, not the main tail, but the tail that you start with. You're going to pull that tight, and you can see how nicely that seals that up. And then we're going to attach to the first single crochet with a slip stitch. And then round 2, we're going to do chain 1, 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next, repeat around, and then attach. So we're going to end up with 15 single crochets. So chain 1, you're going to put 2, which is an increase, 2 single crochets in the first stitch. I'm going to single crochet the chain in, or the tail in, and then 1 single crochet, no increase, in the next stitch. I'll do the pattern one more time with you, and then we'll pause and finish the round. 2 single crochets in this stitch, 1 single crochet in the next. Continue that pattern all the way around and then come back. All right, I came all the way around. Now I'm going to attach with a slip stitch to the first single crochet in that round. Round 3, chain 1, 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, repeat around, attach to the first single crochet. You're going to end with 20 single crochets. I'll do this round with you. Chain 1, 2 single crochets in this first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next, 1 single crochet in the next. I'll repeat that around. An increase 2 double crochets in this stitch. I still have some of the glue on my hand, so please forgive that. That's what you see. It's not dry hands. It's still some of the glue from when we did the paracord. Increase in this one. 1 single crochet in each of the next 2. Again. 1 in each of the next 2. 2 single crochets in this one. 1 single crochet in each of the next 2. Attach with a slip stitch to the first single crochet. All right, let's see what round 4 is. Chain 1, 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches, repeat around, attach to the first single crochet. So I'll just do the pattern with you twice, and then we'll pause and finish the round. So 2 single crochets in this first stitch, 1 single crochet in each of the next 3. 1, 2, 3, and then again 2 in this one, 1 in each of the next 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's finish the round and then come back. All right, there's one more round to this piece. We're going to chain 1 and put 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Attach to the first single crochet, and then you're going to finish and leave a tail to sew this onto the bag. So go ahead and do that, and then put this piece to the side, and then we'll work on the 8, which is very simple. We'll put it all together after that. We're almost there. All right, to do the 8, what I do is I make 2 circles, and then I just sew them together in the shape of an 8, and I'll show you exactly how to do that. So we're going to make 2 of these circles, and I'm going to do it slightly different than the book. I'm going to do it the way I really wanted to do it, but I'm going to explain why I wrote it this way in the book. Again, it has to do with getting less complaints. So the way that I have it written in the book is to chain 8, slip stitch into the first single crochet, which would make a circle. We are going to start that way. Okay, this part isn't going to change. Sorry, I think I accidentally hit the camera when I was doing this. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we go back to the first single crochet and we attach with a slip stitch, and that makes a circle. Okay, this is the part that I'm going to change up, so I'll let you know how I'm going to do that. In the directions, just so that there's no question of what to do, I put chain 1 and 1 single crochet in each chain around. So you can do that, you know, chain 1 and then put 1 single crochet in each chain. It's actually much easier to just crochet right into the ring, but I didn't want anyone to say, what do you mean crochet into the ring? You know, or writing a bad review on Etsy that I didn't explain things well. So we are going to still chain 1, but what we're going to do is put 10 single crochets in the ring. That just means you don't have to go into any of the stitches. You just go into the middle of the circle and put a single crochet in. And the reason why 10 stitches works out here is because when you do it this way, it doesn't take up as much space as going into each individual stitch. So there's 2, 3, 4, and I'm just catching the tail as I'm going along too. You don't have to worry about the tail sticking out. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we're going to attach with a slip stitch to the first single crochet, and that's how you get that circle. We're going to leave a tail because we're going to be doing a little bit of sewing, so it doesn't have to be a huge tail, but just something like that. I already made my second one, so the way we'll sew it is we'll sew 1 on, and then the second one you'll either do on top or below it, but you'll just kind of make the middles meet. Here, let me get this circle. Sorry, I probably should have just shown you on the circle. So you put it on the circle, sew 1 of them on. If you want to do the bottom one first, you put that on the bottom, and then on top of it, you just have the middle ones, you know, have this meat on top, and then sew around this way. Or if you want to put the top one on first, it really doesn't matter. Whatever's more comfortable for you. And then have them meet in the middle. And that makes a really nice 8. So if you feel comfortable with that, you can fast forward through me doing it. If you want to see how I do it, I'll show you here. I still haven't washed my hands from when I did the glue. All right. So I'm going to put mine on the bottom there and just sew. I'm going to move this higher because I have a feeling I'll bump it too much. So you're just going to go up and down with the sewing. Be careful not to sew. I have done that before, and it's not the end of the world. You can still pull it out, but just try not to sew the tail from the white circle into your stitches here. And one thing you can remember is that this piece is going to get sewn then on the bag. So if we want to just put a knot in the back when we get to the end of the round, whatever you want to call it, we can just put a knot in the back and it won't get seen. What I mean by that is here, this is going to be my last stitch because I started right here. You can turn it around, and so that the stitches won't fall out, you can put a knot in the back. In fact, I usually like to knot it twice. There we go. And then cut. And it's not going to matter how it looks on the back because this is going to get sewn on the bag. Right now it's the 0 ball bag. I should have just washed my hands and not been lazy, because now I'm getting pieces of glue on this. So you can see how I'm going to have it overlap here in the middle to make it look like an 8. And it's a little bit thicker to sew it in here in this middle part, because it's going through both layers of the 8 and the white layer. But then as you go around, it's fine. And then go in through here. And if you're happy with how it looks, I'm happy with how it looks. It looks like an 8 to me. I'm going to put a knot in the back here. Probably a double knot, because I am a little bit quirky like that. And then cut the excess. And then we're going to lastly get the bag, and you're going to want to have it open. And we are going to take the needle and thread the needle with what you had from the 8 or from the circle. And we're going to sew this directly to the bag. You want the 8 to be up and down, I would think, you know, but of course it's your project. You can make it however you want. And then we're going to sew that on. So sorry if during this video I kept talking about how I modified what I wanted to do to make the pattern a little bit easier to read. I think I'm just very traumatized by negative comments that I've received on Etsy. I did my very best to try and write a good pattern, but it is difficult to please everybody, and I just hate that it would affect my sales because somebody either didn't read my description or just, you know, decided instead of asking me a question about my pattern, just giving me a negative review. So if you get a certain score with your feedback that people leave you, you become what's called a star seller on Etsy, and they push your items out more in advertisements and in searches and stuff like that. And there have been several times that I have been a star seller, but I feel like there's always at least one person per month, because it's done on a monthly basis. If I get one negative score per month, it usually precludes me from being a star seller, and then my stuff doesn't get pushed out. And it just makes me sad that people have to be such jerks. You know, you can feel free to ask me a question about the pattern if you didn't understand a direction. I really was not trying to write any bad patterns. I'm trying very hard to write good patterns. I spend a lot of time when I write my patterns, writing them. This isn't something I just whip out in 5 minutes. It takes a long time. And then I get them tested so there aren't any mistakes in them. And that also takes time. So I know it's not you guys doing it, but I just wanted to explain myself because I feel bad keep saying it, but that's the reason why. Because it has hurt my ability to sell patterns when people are nasty to me. And if you looked at my pattern here, you could see I put a lot of time into it. You can see that it wasn't anything I just whipped together in 5 minutes. And then on the back here, since it's on the inside, you can make a knot. Or you could weave in your ends, whatever you want. But I'm going to probably just do a knot because I know a knot will be super secure. Not that weaving in your ends isn't, but that's just the one that I prefer to do. And we have a completed project. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe to my channel and share it out. If you want to take a peek at my Etsy store, I have the link in my description. If you favorite an item, that means by putting a heart, like clicking the heart on an item, it doesn't mean you're buying it. You're just saying you think it's a neat item. If you put a heart on it, it lets Etsy know that this is a good item, and it helps in my algorithm for trying to sell. And it doesn't cost you a thing. All it does is have you push a heart button. I really appreciate you watching this. Have a great day. Bye.